considering the job hole that we're in and the 9.5% unemployment rate, some on both sides have said, one of your priorities, the Employee Free Choice Act, is dead. But, I've also seen recently that Senator Harkin said, why not bring it back during the lame duck session? I'm just curious to get your thoughts on that. Do you believe the Employee Free Choice Act is dead in this type of economic environment? And would you support bringing it back in a potential lame duck session to try to get that passed?
Well, just for the listeners, let me tell you why the Employee Free Choice Act is important. Our economy is 70 to 72% driven by consumer spending. And if people don't have money in their pockets, they can't spend. Over the last 20 years or so, wages in this country have been stagnated. And to compensate for that, workers went through a bunch of strategies. They worked overtime, they seconded people into the workforce, they got a second job. None of those worked, and then they began borrowing. First with high-tech stock borrowing, and then with the housing bubble, they borrowed. And that all went poop, and it doesn't exist. We know we can't do that anymore. So if you're going to have an economy that really grows, you have to have aggregate consumer demand. The only way to do that is to have people that have money in their pocket. The best way to do that is bring collective bargaining to more people. That's what happened between 1946 and 73 when the middle class was born. There were 37.5% of the country had collective bargaining. We were able to bargain for a bigger share of the wealth that we produce at those corporations. So that these giant record profits we're seeing corporations have right now aren't being shared with workers. If we have more collective bargaining, they will be shared. That's why the Employee Free Choice Act is so important. It's part of the solution to creating an economy that really does work for everybody.
That's the case for it, though. It's politically palatable.
To answer your question, I think you'll see the Employee Free Choice Act come up again. I think you'll see it probably before the end of the year.
Really? Yeah. In a potential lame duck or not before the November election?
Probably. It could be either one.
Do you have any specific guarantees from certain members of Congress that that's the case? Or
no guarantees. No.
So why do you think, it's such a controversial proposal, as you know, in such a tough economic environment, with the November elections right around the corner, how could you really say that you're confident that it would come back to the floor?
I think it'll be back to the floor because we're working on strategies to get that done. Let me ask you a question. I think this is one for why do you think it's controversial?
I think Republicans that have emailed me, knowing that I was going to speak to you, I think they make the case that it would raise costs and burdens on businesses and hurt small business owners.
Wouldn't it also do other things? Wouldn't it also create aggregate demand? Wouldn't it do what the rest of the world is doing? All the countries that have fared well, the best in this recession, have had a higher wage strategy than we have in this country. So you can't say that having collective bargaining would make us less competitive and would hurt us because it's helped other countries.
But if it's so popular, why haven't Democrats, who have majorities in both houses, brought it to the floor? Why hasn't it been brought to the floor? Why hasn't it gotten a vote? Why hasn't it passed?
That's a good question. You have the president supports it, the vice president supports it, a vast majority of the House supported it, a vast majority of the Senate reported it, and like 100 and some other bills in this country, 40 Republicans said we're saying no to everything, and so they stopped it. It has come to the House and the Senate. Remember, it passed by a large majority in the House. It's been in the Senate where 40 Republicans have said no, just like they said no to extensions of unemployment benefits, to help for state and local government. They said no to everything.